So, you want big power. You don't have big money? Well, good news for you, because these are 10 of the cheapest cars out of the box, which have a ton of horsepower. I'm Brad, welcome back to Ideal, and let's go. The Infiniti G35. It's a dream car for us enthusiasts, especially those of us that are into luxury and performance. First, the power. It's packed, a 3.5-liter V6 that delivers up to 298 ponies. And whether you opt for rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, it offers superb handling on the road. It's got close to perfect 50-50 weight distribution, and it's just a ton of fun to carve the corners. Plus, be ready to turn some heads, because these things are stunners when modded. And since there's such a loyal fan base for the G35, you can find tons of aftermarket parts and accessories to truly make it your own. But what really makes the G35 great is that you can still find them for well under 10 grand.
While it's not quite as luxurious or as advanced as some newer models, seeing as it doesn't have to deal with a turbocharger or a CVT, it's way more reliable. And the cool factor hits way harder than a lot of the cars at the same price point. Between you and me, I've kinda always wanted one.
Yeah, check this out. For under $6, you can get this neck breaker. And we are just getting started, baby. The BMW 335i, it's a car that will make you go, woo! This is the ultimate driving machine for anyone who loves speed, who loves style, and who loves sophistication, baby. First, let's talk about that engine. It's a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that out of the box is already putting down around 300 horses. And they can be easily tuned for like $1,500 to be over 400. Plus, it sounds amazing too. I mean, just listen to that sweet, sweet sound of the turbo. The 3 Series, well, it's known for its superb handling and agility. Whether you're cruising on the highway, carving up the canyons, or drifting in the snow, yes, this car will make you feel like a pro. And whether you want to go clean and classy, wild and aggressive, or anything in between, you can do it all in a 335.
Best part is you can still find them for under 10 grand. That's right, for less than half the price of a new Honda Civic, you can get yourself a turbocharged BMW. That's a steal. And don't worry about reliability, because sure, they might need some maintenance and repairs. Okay, they will definitely need some maintenance and repairs, but hey, there's nothing you can't handle with some basic tools, some DIY spirit, and a boatload of YouTube tutorials.
Yes, people will respect you, even maybe admire you or envy you for driving this car. And you'll have a blast every time that you get behind the wheel, as long as the nut behind the wheel isn't loose. So, what are you waiting for? Go get yourself a BMW 335i and join the cool kids for under 7K. And like always, I've linked to all these Ideal cars down below, so check them out in the first pinned comment. Find yourself an ideal deal, baby. Okay, yes, we've already covered Japanese and German, so it's time for a proper American muscle car. Enter the C5 Chevrolet Corvette. When it comes to performance bargains, there's really nothing else quite like it on the market. You see, the C5 Vet will have you screaming, "Yee-haw!" from the moment you step on that accelerator pedal.
The LS1 engine is an absolute beast and gives you 345 snarling horses at your disposal. Plus, you get sleek looks, killer handling, and access to the nearly infinite world of the Corvette aftermarket. Want to chase 1,000 horsepower? Want to go take down supercars? Or maybe you just want a sweet ride for canyon carving on the weekends? You'd be hard-pressed to find anything better for the money than a C5 Corvette.
And I mean, when you give it the beans and you can find them for this cheap, you'd be crazy not to buy one. Yes, from one American legend to another, the Dodge Charger RT has one of the highest fund-to-dollar ratios of any car on the road ever. This is the car that will make you fall in love with the art of burnouts all over again.
First, there's the engine. The 5.7-liter Hemi V8 is a thing of legend. It's capable of making up to 368 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque right from the factory. That's more than some sports cars that cost twice as much, and it sounds amazing too. Just listen to that sweet, sweet V8 rumble.
And if you're willing to go back to, say, a 2009 model year Charger RT, you can get yourself a high horsepower car for the low, low price, well, easily sub 10K. You know, we have always had a special place in our hearts for Mopar here at Ideal, and if you're watching this video, well, you probably do too. So go get yourself a Dodge and start doing donuts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And real quick, if you want to learn the ideal way to buy any of these cars and make money on them, who wouldn't? Well, check out our brand new Ideal Car Strategies workshop, which I've linked down below. It's free. What do you have to lose? Nothing. The BMW 5 Series has long been one of the best buys for power, performance, and refinement in a full-size sedan. And the 550i, well, it's no different. This four-door sedan comes packed with over 400 horsepower, and when you can get it for less than $9,000, that's not just ideal, it's an absolute steal. And wait, did I mention that the 0 to 60 acceleration rockets you into the fast lane in a little over 4 seconds? I mean, that's gotta be one of the absolute best fun-to-dollar ratios of anything on this list. And you'll have so much money left over after buying one that you'll have enough to kit it out and make it an absolute menace on the streets.
Word of caution though, the engines in these cars, well, they've had some serious problems. In fact, it's an engine that made our list of worst engines ever made. There's a lot that goes wrong, and they're expensive to fix. But this is a list of cheap cars with huge horsepower, not necessarily cars you should actually go out and buy. And of the cars in today's video, this is the one that I'd probably personally avoid. But if you can find one that's got a pretty detailed service history, it could be worth taking a look at. Just be careful.
Now that we've already mentioned the OGG, you know, the G35 of course, we can't ignore its successor, the Infiniti G37. Infiniti took everything that they learned when they unleashed the G35 and improved it just in about every way. The G37's beefed up V6 has 328 ponies under the hood. It's available with a 6-speed manual trans, and thanks to its front midship layout, this thing handles like it's absolutely on rails. We can't recommend the Infiniti G series enough. That's why there are 2 of them on this list. And when you can find a G37 for prices this low, do you get a G35? Do you get a G37? Let us know down below. The Chevrolet Camaro, it is the unsung hero of the sports car world. While Corvettes and Mustangs might get all the attention from the dads with mustaches and New Balances, the Camaro has always been an underdog that punches way above its weight class. And the Camaro LS might just be the best underdog of the litter. The LS might get side-eyed from everyone who worships at the cult of V8 engines, but even though it's down 2 cylinders, this Camaro does not miss a beat. Okay, real quick, hear me out. With over 300 ponies on tap, rear-wheel drive, and 3 pedals, you'll be in donut heaven. And while yeah, a V8 might be cooler if you could afford it, over 300 reliable horses and rear-wheel drive for less than $9,000, it is very hard to ignore. Just remember to invite me and Trav to the smoke show. This next pick takes us off the beaten path, but Hyundai spun the Genesis into its own brand. It was the moniker of their sporty luxury rides. They were a bargain brand new, and they are an absolute steal today.
In R-Spec trim, you get a 5-liter V8 with 429 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque on tap. This Korean stunner perfectly rides the fine line between luxury cruiser and bona fide performance machine. And guess what? You get all that and a bag of chips for less than $10,000.
Well, I don't know if the dealer would throw in the bag of chips, but if you bring Trav along as your co-pilot, he'll bring plenty. I'm still cleaning Dorito dust out of the Bronco. God, guys, stop eating the Doritos. Okay, and real quick, before we get to the number 1 on this list, let's talk about a couple honorable mentions. Yeah. And the first is this lesser known American sleeper, the Ford Taurus Show. Also, you got the Chrysler 300C or the 300 SRT8. Or if you channel your inner mullet with my personal favorite, the Pontiac GTO! Although GTOs aren't exactly cheap, well, I guess that's why it's on the honorable mention, baby. Okay, and now for number 1 pick, the ultimate performance bargain that's been tearing up the tarmac since forever ago. The Ford Mustang is the best-selling sports car from America like ever. Actually, no, it's the best-selling sports car in the world, which means there are plenty on the market. They come in all kinds of different flavors. The aftermarket is nearly infinite. Sure, you can get an older model with the V8, but if you're looking for a bargain, check out the V6 or even the EcoBoost and use all that money that you just saved to drop it on mods.
You're starting with 300 ponies pumping out of America's original pony car. And once you dip your toe into the aftermarket, the sky's the limit.
Sure, my dad, he's gonna roast you for not packing a V8, but when he hears you rip by and watches you drop a gear and disappear, well, you're gonna shut him up real quick. So, what do you guys think? Would you buy one of these using the ideal car strategies, or do you have thoughts on a cheap high horsepower car that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below. Anyways, check out this ideal vid up here or whatever YouTube recommends down here. And I'm Brad, the Financial Cowboy, and this is Ideal. Like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle. Woo!